You're in the trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics, as always. And man, big buzz at training camp this year, in the early stages of training camp. These young cornerbacks, how well they're playing. I think the young cornerbacks are playing well. I think the veteran quarterbacks are playing exceptionally well. I think the entire back end is playing outstanding football. The cornerback position specifically is coached by a very young football coach named Chuck Burks. Last year was his first year with the Cincinnati Bengals, a 12-4 season, go all the way to the AFC Championship game. This man is a young rising star in the National Football League, in the coaching ranks of the National Football League. You're going to see why. He's got a lot of great things to say about his players, about them working against the wide receiver core that the Bengals have that's second to none in the NFL. It's exciting times here in Cincinnati, and Chuck Burks is a big part of it. Appreciate you joining us in the trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. And we've got our beautiful studio, as always, that we're emanating from. And we have a very, very special guest today. He's had a major impact on the Cincinnati Bengals. Cornerbacks coach, Chuck Burks, an up-and-coming star, a rising star in the National Football League. Everybody around the league that I talk to has a lot of good things to say about this young man. Coach, appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us, sir.
Yes, thanks for having me. Thank you.
So, the cornerbacks, there's a lot of buzz going on in training camp. I guess before we get into that, why don't you give everybody listening and watching a little bit of your football background, because it's a good one.
Well, I'm originally from Grand Prairie, Texas. Started my coaching career at my alma mater, East Central University, in 2011, a year after I was done playing. And, I coached at a few different universities, Division II universities down in the Texas, Oklahoma area, West Texas A&M in 2012, 2013 Commerce. And then I was the defensive coordinator at Southeastern Oklahoma State in my third year for 5 years. And then transitioned to Arkansas Tech, another Division II, before in 2019, I became a coaching assistant at the Miami Dolphins and was a coaching assistant there for 1 year, and then coached the cornerbacks for the 2020 and the 21 seasons. So spent 3 years overall with Brian Flores and his staff at Miami Dolphins before this past year with the Cincinnati Bengals.
What a brilliant football mind, defensive football mind, Coach Brian Flores. Defensive coordinator. How old were you when you got that defensive coordinator gig? Were you the youngest defensive coordinator ever in college football?
I was 26 years old. So
wow.
I believe at that time I was probably the youngest coordinator in the nation at that time. So it was definitely a great experience. I always tell people that, the Division II experience really prepared me to coach in the NFL, because there's no really GAs in Division II. If you're a Division II coach, you're doing the coaching as a GA, and then once you become a full-time assistant, obviously you're coaching. But I had 8 years of solid coaching, and able to run my own room, again, able to coordinate for 5 years, again, starting at the age of 26. So that was a valuable experience. And it really, once I transitioned to the NFL, there's so many things that I've learned, from game planning, from organizing to personnel meetings, that I was able to have at such a young age, that the transition was seamless once I got to the NFL.
Your exposure and your experience with Coach Brian Flores, what was your biggest takeaway? What was the biggest thing you learned from that experience, do you think?
My biggest learning experience with him was the details and accountability. I think Coach is one of the best leaders I've ever met in my life. I wouldn't be here without him. He was a tremendous teacher, but the details were very important. He would always, every part or every aspect of what we were doing each day, everybody had direction. Everybody knew their role, and everybody knew how important their role was for the greater good of the organization. So I really, really thank him for that. He really pushed me as a coach. He pushed me to be a leader. He pushed me to hold others accountable. And I can't say enough about, the impact that he had in my life, the impact that he had in my football career. And again, he's just a big part of the reason why I'm here.
And now you're working with defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, who was a finalist for a head coaching position in the National Football League, highly regarded in the National Football League, obviously for a very brilliant defensive mind. More similarities than differences, I would assume, between Coach Anarumo and Coach Flores, but maybe give us a couple of similarities.
Yeah, the similarities is the details. Both of them are detail oriented. Both of them, want everybody to collectively know the why and what we're doing. And at the end of the day, they're both old school, and I like that. Sometimes I feel like I'm lucky to, in my career, be around a Brian Flores and be around Coach Lou, because both of these guys have been in the league for such a long time, and they've had so many experience over their careers, and we're always talking, we're always having conversation. And sometimes when I'm in a game and I'm watching Lou work and I'm watching him make adjustments within the game, it's really a beautiful thing to see up close as an assistant. And he's just a wealth of wisdom that I get to have conversations with daily. How do you see this? Why do you see it like you do? And he's such a good teacher. He's always there to help. He's always there to bounce off ideas off of. And again, both of them are just tremendous teachers, tremendous leaders, and very consistent people.
You've gotten through the indoctrination period as such, no shoulder pads, and now you got the shoulder pads on, and you're going through that transition and getting a lot of good work done. How's training camp gone so far for your cornerbacks?
I think the guys have done a really good job of just going out and competing. That's what I like about this group so far the most. We're always striving for consistency. It's never going to be perfect. We're not necessarily chasing perfection. We're just chasing continuous improvement and trying to be consistent day in and day out. But the way these guys have came in and competed, their confidence, their willingness to try new things. It's a young group, so that's a part of it. But even the veterans, changing up their technique. I would say I can't say enough about the Cheeto, Mike Hilton, Jalen Davis. Those guys do such a really good job with my younger guys of teaching these guys little nuances within different coverages, within different techniques. So I always say we have multiple coaches within our room to help with this culture of competition that we have within the secondary. So it's just been great to see these young guys go out and compete. And I would say both of the young guys have a tremendous amount of confidence. And then you have Cam Taylor Britt, who's going into his second year. Again, that's another guy who's extremely competitive, plays with a lot of confidence, and I'm very, very excited in particular about his upcoming season.
Yeah, it's interesting the makeup of your room. There's the KG veteran, the young guys, and I remember during my playing career in the NFL, the veteran players. In your early stages, your first couple of years, you're really learning a lot from those veterans. Football life. You learn about life in general from those guys. And I saw all different sorts. I saw guys that were very open and willing to give you anything and everything, answer all questions, and then guys that were like, because it's so competitive, hey dude, you're trying to take my job, I'm not giving you anything. And those guys were tough. I mean, that was a tough nut to crack. It seems like everybody on this football team, that's the one thing, everybody gets along so well. There's a free exchange of dialogue about this worked for me, why don't you try this? I mean, everybody's doing everything they possibly can to make each other better. I mean, it's a great thing to see.
Yeah, I really think that starts at the top with Zach. I think Zach creates an environment where it's team first. It's team first. And I not only see it within my group, with the linebackers, with Logue, with Pratt, the defensive line, DJ, BJ. I see them always working with the younger guys because I think they understand that it's bigger than them. At the end of the day, it's bigger than them. And, there's a standard that's important to them. And whenever, at some point everybody leaves on, but when they leave, they want that standard to never drop. They want that to carry on for years to come. And again, it starts with our head coach, then to our coordinators, and then it goes down to our leaders on the team. And it's a great environment. It's great to be a part of. It's great to see it work, happen day to day. And there's some hard conversations in that. There's a lot of accountability in that. That's the other side of it. It's not always peaches and cream or peas and carrots, whatever you want to call it. But these older guys are not afraid to have uncomfortable conversations with the younger guys, which is needed if you want to continue to grow.
No question about it. All right, Coach, let's I'll give you a player name, and you give me a couple of things that come to mind about that player that stand out about you and how they play the game of football, contributions they make to the team, whatever the case may be. I'm going to start, I guess, with a couple of young guys that you drafted this year, and they're both opening eyes, early on here at training camp. And they're both DJs. I'm not talking about disc jockeys spinning records. I'm talking about the two DJs that you guys drafted. DJ Turner out of Michigan. I mean, the obvious thing is, what, he run a 4.27, I think it was. Wasn't he the fastest guy at the combine? So obviously got, raw speed, but he's got a heck of a lot more than that, doesn't he?
Oh, no doubt. The speed is there. There's one thing to be able to run a 4.2, but you starting to see the speed. You starting to see him play at that speed. So outside of the speed, I would say coverage ability. I said it the other day. I think I can wake DJ Turner up at 5:30 a.m. and he can go cover somebody.
Right.
So tremendous coverage ability, and then confidence. This guy is extremely confident. He wants to be the best. He doesn't just want to be he doesn't want to be a starter. He wants to be the best. And he's been very vocal about that to me. And it's when I hear that name, I hear somebody who is hungry and wants to be the best.
Oh, that's great. My rookie year with the Bengals was way back in the 1974 is my rookie season. We had two corners, Ken Riley, he's going to the Hall of Fame here in a week, and Lamar Parish, who should be in the Hall of Fame as well. He was an unbelievable kickoff and punt returner as well as a corner. But these two guys as a tandem, they had recoverability speed. It's like when everybody's good in the National Football League, you're going to get beaten at times. Even when they got beaten, man, they could recover so quickly. And, they would make sure that, a play was only going to be maybe a 14-yard completion instead of a 70-yard touchdown. They had that recoverability speed. That's key, isn't it?
Yeah, no doubt. There was a play yesterday, Jamar had caught a long pass, but DJ Turner was out of position and he was able to catch up and put himself back in position. And I think that's a rare trait. You don't see that a lot in the NFL. A lot of guys aren't able to do that. And a lot of guys panic when they're at position, but he didn't panic. He got back in position. Jamar still made the great catch and it was a phenomenal throw. But just to see that, to me, that was an actual positive sign to see his makeup ability.
Right. DJ Ivey, what a steal this guy is. Now you look and you think, how the heck did he last so long in the draft? He's long. His arms are so long. He can run. And he's making plays. And like you said, Coach, it's not one-hit wonders. To start stacking days. It's like, man, that's 2 good days in a row. That's 3 good days. The consistency that you're talking about, these two young guys are doing it, aren't they?
They are. And consistency is key. Consistency is key. We're looking for consistency over a 5 to 6 month period. So 4 days is great. And, we actually just had a conversation with, we had met this morning, but I think DJ Ivey is a competitor. And I would say one thing about DJ Ivey in college, he had, I believe, 4 secondary coaches in 5 years.
Wow.
So he was not able to really have the consistency that a player needs to grow. And, when you watch this tape in college, you kind of see a little bit of that. But, Lou had went to the pro day and saw him move, and Lou gave me a call. Me and Lou talked, and they brought him out, and I met him, and we talked ball. We got to know each other. I fell in love with who he was as a person, and I'm extremely excited about his development and where he's headed, because again, he's confident, he's fearless, he's competitive. He plays a really good technique, and he loves the game. He takes notes. He sits up front. So he's everything that you want in a person. And then obviously there's talent there as a football player.
Man, that's awesome. So, Coach, how long, I guess it varies on a person by person basis, but is that process of, okay, well, boy, the technique that I was taught in college, it's not the same, and I got to unlearn that and relearn this. So I got to teach muscle memory and all that sort of thing. And then, okay, well, the language that I learned, I have to unlearn French and learn German now. This is a totally different language. How long a transition time normally is that for young guys like these?
I would say, it varies from person to person.
Right.
I think for a guy like DJ Ivey, he played different techniques in college, but he's a natural press corner. That's something that's innate in him. He's naturally comfortable with doing that and putting his hands on people and staying in front of people. So he's actually picked it up quicker than other guys that I've had in the past. They eventually picked it up, but
Right.
he's just in who he is and his skill set and his talent. That's what he feels comfortable doing. So he's been picking it up quickly. And everybody plays a little bit differently. DJ Turner presses a little bit differently than DJ Ivey. Same with Cam Taylor Britt. So as an NFL coach, you actually have to adapt to them, to that specific person, within the technique that you're teaching.
Let's talk about Cam Taylor Britt a little bit. You've mentioned him out of Nebraska. I mean, this guy brings the energy, man. As a former player, I look at him and I'm like, that's the kind of teammate I used to love. A guy, every day is a good day for Cam Taylor Britt. Every day is a good day for football for Cam Taylor Britt, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. It is. It's been such a fun process of coaching Cam and seeing him grow. He loves the game. He loves his teammates. He loves to compete. He's tenacious. He's physical. When Cam Taylor Britt is on the field and you want to go play some ball, you better buckle up because he's going to give everything he has. So, he can play every position in the secondary if he wanted to. He can play safety. He can play nickel. He can play corner. He played quarterback in college, so he's a natural communicator. He's a natural leader. He just has that personality about himself that everybody kind of gravitates to, and just from a technique standpoint and a growth standpoint, I've seen a big jump from year 1 to year 2 from a training camp standpoint, and the battles that he's having with Jamar just makes him better.
Yeah, I mean, boy, that old saying, "Iron sharpens iron." Cam Taylor Britt and Jamar, that's a stirring battle to watch every day, man. And
it's a heavyweight fight.
Yeah, exactly, heavyweight fight. And I mean, the receiving core the Bengals have as a group. I mean, the trio's as good as there is in the National Football League. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, it's in everybody's estimation. If it's not number 1, it's no lower than number 2 as a group in the National Football League. So working against that core, and then boy, it's very competitive, like 4 through 6 to roster for the Bengals at the receiver position. You got talented guys, working hard on a daily basis. That's going to make everybody better, right? I mean, you guys going against each other and getting each other better on a day-by-day basis. Those practices, you guys have figured out how to practice so well, even without shoulder pads. And you go at an unbelievable tempo working against each other.
Yeah, it's been great to watch. I mean, the competition, it hasn't been one way. And me and Lou talked about that yesterday. It hasn't been one way. It's been, the receivers have been making great plays. The corners come back and make great plays. All the receivers, as great as they are, T, Jamar, T Boyd, they're all different, so you have to cover them a little bit differently. So there's that learning process. And then, the guys behind them are out there making plays. Kwame made a wonderful catch a few days ago. And these guys are out there competing, getting each other better. And I think just, as the unit, receiver unit and the corner unit, it's going to really benefit us when we get to the preseason and when we go into the season.
Let's talk about your slot corner. In my estimation, for my money, the best in the National Football League. And there's no doubt that he's the best blitzing defensive back there is in the National Football League. And that's none other than Mike Hilton. He brings a lot to the table, doesn't he?
Oh, he does. He does. Mike Hilton, again, this I can't say enough about Mike. Mike has made big plays in big games. You have to account as an offense. You have to know exactly where Mike is, every time that he gets lined up. And he actually helps us put in different plays by, if he shows like he's coming and, whatnot, they have to account for him, and it helps us with other pressures. So Mike is a dynamic player. Mike makes game-changing plays, and Mike is doing a really good job. He's having a strong camp right now. So very pleased with where he's at right now.
He is he is special in that locker room. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he's not he's almost the perfect leader. You know, I guess I'd categorize him as a quiet leader, but he's not quiet, but he's not obtrusive. I mean, he's just got it figured out. This guy's got it figured out, man. He really does.
Yeah, you know, when Mike Hilton speaks, people listen.
Yep.
I would just say that when he speaks, people listens, because his game is, I mean, this is a guy that he was undrafted, so he's had to fight for everything that he's had in the league.
Right.
Everything that he's had in the league. And every place that he's been, they've won. So that's the other part about Mike. You know, Mike has done nothing but win since he's been in the NFL. So he's had adversity early. I believe he played for the Jags, the Patriots at one point, then landed with the Steelers, and you know, his career took off. So he's lived a full NFL life, and he's a great resource of knowledge to learn from. And I'm glad we have him.
Talk about Sidney Jones, Coach. What does Sidney Jones give you at the corner position?
I think Sidney gives you versatility. You know, Sidney is a guy that's played in the league and played well, you know, for a while, and has battled through injury. But, you know, he started games at nickel. He started games at corner. He can cover. He's physical. That's one aspect that, you know, since we haven't had our pads on, we haven't been able to see of Sidney. But Sidney is a very physical cornerback. So I'm excited to see that. And he's picked it up well. He's meshing well with the group. And you know, I thought he was a great pickup. You know, to have a guy of his caliber to come and, you know, be a part of what we're doing.
Right. And this guy should have gotten to a lot earlier, but he's still rehabbing. And boy, did he recover quickly from that ACL. Chidobe Awuzie. Yeah. I mean, Cheeto he's a very special talent in person as well, and he's right on the doorstep of being fully back, isn't he, Coach? And talk about him as a player and the rehabilitation that he's gone through here so quickly.
Well, number one, Cheeto is a phenomenal person, and it's been a pleasure and an honor to be his coach. You know, when he went down those first, you know, I believe 6 or 7 games that he got to play, he was playing, I would say, at the highest level of any corner in the league up to that point. I mean, he was covering well. He was challenging balls. He was challenging people at the line of scrimmage. He's probably the most cerebral corner that I've ever coached. He has great awareness and understands the scheme, and he helped me out with the scheme when I first got here. So for a few of those months, he was my coach. But no, he's battled through injury. You know, and I'm not surprised that he's bounced back so quickly, because it just really is who he is. I mean, when he tore his ACL, he jogged off the field. So
unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. Like, when it happened, I actually thought he maybe rolled his ankle the way he came off the field, and then to learn that I was ACL. I mean, Cheeto he's beyond tough. I don't even know if tough is a big enough word to describe what type of person that he is, but I'm glad to have him out there. He's been going through individuals. He's been, again, on the field and in the film room coaching the guys up, and I can't wait to have him back, and that's going to make us that much stronger. And then just about his game, he's another guy that can play corner, nickel, safety. He just has that type of skill set.
Boy, it speaks to how strong all the muscle groups are around those ligaments too. For him to be able to get up and jog off the field like that with a torn ACL, man, the dude's got to have quads, hamstrings that are just unbelievably strong. You know? It's unreal.
Yeah,
it really is amazing. And you're talking about more than multiple guys here, and we'll get to other guys as well. But the versatility aspect of it, the guys being able to play more than one position, so you don't have to necessarily substitute personnel to give totally different looks out there. I mean, you can just chest piece, move guys around. That's got to be very disconcerting to a quarterback trying to figure out what the hell's going on that back end, isn't it?
It is. And, one of the main things, besides the details that I learned from Brian Flores, is you have the chess pieces at your disposal, and it's your job to figure out how to move them around and put them in the best position to win the match. So we have those chess pieces. We have guys that, have versatility within the game. We have guys that understand the scheme enough to play in different spots. And hopefully, we're able to put those guys in great position, which I know we will. But just to have that luxury of, guys who can cover in different spots of the field, nobody's going to be able to run from us.
Give us a little bit about Jalen Davis, Coach.
Jalen Davis, another consistent, competitive, smart guy, very reliable, very accountable, very dependable. He went in and had to start a few games last year, and we didn't miss a beat. We didn't miss a beat. He got us lined up. He communicated. He covered well. He competed. He's physical. I can't say again enough about Jalen Davis. I was actually in Miami my first year in the league, and Jalen Davis was there. So it was great to reconnect with Jalen and feel like we haven't, missed a beat since we last worked with each other.
How about Alan George?
AG, love AG. I really do. He is actually one of my favorite people in the room. He keeps the room light. He's actually a comedian, although he won't say. Yeah, he won't say he was probably one of the funniest guys in the room. But I like where AG is at. AG is a guy that bursted onto the scene with a lot of ball production, and now he's started with this camp doing the same thing. So if you notice, we moved AG. Now he's playing some nickel, just trying to add some position flex within his game, and he's handled it well. So I think he's trending in the right direction as well.
This roster is incredible as a whole, and every position group has amazing depth. I mean, there are so many guys. So, I remember I got drafted by the Bengals, and my offensive line coach was a great coach, Bill Tiger Johnson. And we had some veterans and rookies, battling it out. And it was a deep room. And he goes, "Man," he said, "I'm telling you, if you make this football team, if you can roster on this football team, that is one hell of an accomplishment." And I'm looking at this group. I mean, there's roster depth at every single position. If you roster, make the 53-man, and then if you can make the game day roster on top of that, and not be deactivated, those are two huge accomplishments right there.
It is, and it's evident. It's evident when as you say, you've seen some of the practices. It's evident that there is talent everywhere on the field. And I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad I'm a Bengal. But it's been great to watch. It's been great to coach these guys, and these guys really love each other. And I think it's a genuine thing, and that's offense and defense. Our defensive backs are very happy that Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Stanley Morgan, those guys are the receivers that they're getting the guard every day, because they know that those guys on Sunday are going to go out and produce. So it's been great to watch. Two great groups, a lot of great people, and obviously talented football players.
There's another player that was a rookie last year, first-round draft pick, Jax Hill, who's now a safety. Your two veteran safeties moved on, but you have Jax Hill back there, and you have Nick Scott that comes to the Bengals from the Rams. But Jax Hill played slot. He played outside corner. I mean, Lou had him in multiple places back there, probably as a foundation being built for, like you had talked about earlier, Coach. Why is this call being made? Why is it happening? And what do I have to do to make sure, that I'm doing the why properly and all those kind of things? That probably helped. That experience probably helped Jax Hill become such a better football player.
Yeah, 100%. Because when you move around, you start to understand things conceptually, right, instead of opposition. So I think that was good for Dax early on, and he made some key plays in big games. I think about the Bills game where he had made a play on third down in the low red area. I mean, that's huge for somebody's confidence. And I know he's playing safety, but Dax is a versatile football player. Right. He's a tremendous blitzer. He's probably one of the best blitzing defensive backs when coming out of college. He can cover with the best of them. And then he can play in the post. He can run. He can tackle in space. So Dax is going to be key to what we're trying to do this year.
It is amazing. We all know how competitive and tough the AFC North is. The AFC in general, every projected starting quarterback, barring injury or some other unforeseen problem, 15 of the 16 of them were first-round draft picks. And Jimmy Garoppolo was a second-round draft pick. I mean, man, it's all about having a quarterback and being able to throw the football in the National Football League. Back-end guys are like gold, man. Having as many as you have, it's a heck of a deal, isn't it?
It is. It is. To win in the AFC, you have to have guys that can rush, and you have to have guys that can cover, period.
Right.
You won't have a chance with these elite quarterbacks. So your secondaries, I can speak for the secondary. Your secondary has to be elite, and they have to be elite in elite moments of the year. So it doesn't matter if you're good for 15 games, but when it's those moments against those quarterbacks, if you're not elite, if you're just average, you won't win. So we understand that. We understand the challenge ahead, and we're willing to face it.
So, Coach, how did your relationship with Zach Taylor come about? I mean, Zach obviously, I'm this guy with the Miami Dolphins. This is a young and rising star here. Zach's got background with the Miami Dolphins. Mark Duffner, I mean, was it a Miami Dolphins kind of connection thing? Was it some other thing where you were introduced and got to know Zach Taylor a little bit, or how did that all shake out?
Well, I kind of knew of Zach. So, interesting story. I went to East Central University in Ada, Oklahoma.
Yep.
Zach's grandparents are from Ada, Oklahoma.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's kind of weird. Ada, Oklahoma is one of those places where not many people know about it, but if you do know about it, you know that place is kind of it's a different place. And me and him joke about it all the time. And I didn't necessarily know Zach personally. I always knew of Coach Taylor. We coached against each other in 2019, I believe. And then we coached against each other in 2020. And, first time me and him talked, he actually referenced those games, and he had respect for my work. And I definitely had respect for the direction that, the Bengals were headed, especially after that, 2021 season. And, he put his trust in me, and Lou put his trust in me, and I'm forever grateful for both of them. And I'll do everything I can to, make sure that they were right for choosing me.
I'll tell you, your first year in the National Football League with the Bengals, 12-4 season, AFC Championship, almost got it done to go to the Super Bowl again. I mean, that's a pretty good start to your career here in Cincinnati for sure, Coach. And I know everybody in the organization is very excited that you're part of what's going on here in Cincinnati. And this Bengal team, they're going to be a snootful for everybody for a lot of years to come, aren't they?
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be fun to come and watch the Cincinnati Bengals for years to come. But most importantly, we always got to be present and be where we're at. And we're extremely focused on winning it this year because next year isn't promised. So I'm grateful to be here. I love being a Bengal, love being a part of this organization, being with the Brown family, Coach Taylor, Coach Lou. It's been amazing, and just looking forward to practice today.
Coach, I'm looking forward to it as well. Be checking it out. Thanks for carving time and joining us in the trenches. We really appreciate you and everything you've done for the game of football.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Have a great one, sir.
Yes, sir.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realize self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.